Hey, hi. So this is how I make baklava cookies. This is from an old baklava box or an old phyllo dough box from the ancient days. My mother had it. She taught me how to make these, and I just used the recipe that's on the box: 3 cups of walnuts finely chopped, 1 cup of almonds finely chopped, 1/4 spoon of cinnamon. I use a little more. 1/8 of ground cloves. 1/3 a cup of sugar. I use a little more, and that's your mixture. And then you have to deal with the phyllo dough, and that gets a little tricky, and I'll explain that in the next video. After you roll them all, and I'll show you that in a second, you then put it in the oven at 350 for, I don't know, 10 to 12 to 15 minutes. You have to keep an eye on it. Let them cool down, and then you put the syrup on top. The syrup is 2 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar, 1/2 cup of honey, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or pieces of lemon or orange rind, and a cinnamon stick. Bring to a boil and cook for 10 minutes. So once that's all cooked up and everything, I usually let that cool a little bit too, but put it over the cool baklava. Once you've done that, let it soak in for a while, and then I take the baklava out of the pan and I put it in dishes, layer it with wax paper. I'll try to show you that later. And so that you have these nice little rolled cookies, like little logs, or cigarettes, or cigars, whatever you want to call them. You'll see how I roll them in a minute. Okay, so enjoy. I hope you like it. Hi, it's me again. I'm going to try to show you how I do my baklava cookies. So I take 1 sheet of the phyllo dough. This is probably 2 sheets because it got stuck together. I butter it. I fold it in half. I butter it again. And then I take about 2 heaping tablespoons of the mixture of nuts, and maybe a little less than that, I don't know. You know, you have to feel it out. Can you see it? Let's see. Let me see if you can see. All right. And now you're going to roll it after it's been, thoroughly buttered. If it peels apart, you just stick it together. This is a good one, I think. Throw a little extra butter on it and throw it on the sheet. As you can see, I have a couple already done up. Then what I'll do is I'll score them before I cook them. And then after I cook them, I'll come back to you and show you what I do then. Okay? Great. Doing it again. Let's see. I took 1 sheet. I buttered it. I folded it in half. I buttered it again. So you basically have 2 layers of dough that are buttered in between, and you put about 2 tablespoons of mixture. And then when you roll it, you flip it like that. See what I'm doing? And then you take it from the middle and you roll outward, and you roll outwards, and you just be careful because, as you know, the dough is very fragile. And then once you get it rolled, it looks like that, and you stick it on your baking sheet. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so here they are. All right, I've buttered them again. They're on the pan. I buttered them again, and then I scored them, as you can see. I scored them. Now they're going to go in the oven at 350 for 10 to 12 minutes, maybe a little longer. You just check them out and make sure you're not burning them. And when you take them out, you let them cool, and then you pour the syrup on top. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I screwed up a little earlier because I pushed the wrong button, so I'm going to add this little clip in. I put the baklava in the oven. They cooked for 10 to probably 12 or 13, 14 minutes. I rotated them on the shelf. I took them out and I let them cool. I put them down on my counter and let them cool. While they were cooling, I made the syrup, as I explained to you earlier, and I will now show you the next clip. As you can see, I boiled the syrup for 10-12 minutes or so. Now going to remove the rind and the cinnamon stick and then pour it over the baklava. Okay, so after I poured the syrup over the cooled baklava, I let it sit for a little while. I rolled the cookies in the syrup a little bit. I didn't let them stay too long because then they get too soggy. And you'll see what I did next. I cut them up and put them in a tin, and I'll show you that in the next little section. Okay, here we go. All right, so you can see I've cut them all up because I scored them before they went in the oven. I rolled them around. When I took them out, I put the syrup on. I rolled them around a little bit, just a little, let them sit for a little while until they cool down a little bit. And then you don't want them to sit in the syrup too long because they get too gooey. So what I've done is I put them in a tin that I lined with wax paper, and then I'm going to put another piece of wax paper over the top of that one, and I'm going to line them up in the tin so that I have them for the holidays. Okie doke, so now we are done. I'm going to show you all my cookies. Look pretty nice, don't they? And the best thing about it's a little messy job, but while you're doing everything, you can sort of clean up after yourself. The best part for the cook is when you break one, as you can see, you get to eat it. And they're really good. Anyway, I made this video for my new friend Joan, who's a fantastic baker herself, and her baklava looks a lot prettier than mine, but as you can see, that's not so bad. So I hope you enjoy.